Well, is the latest craze in American culture atheism?
In the personal story segment tonight, do you believe in God?
It's Christopher Hitchens, whose latest book is the bestseller.
The mega-selling best book.
Whose bestseller
sparked worldwide controversy.
Why are you an atheist?
Why don't you believe in Thor? Why don't you believe in Zeus? Nobody believes in most of the things that you could believe in. You're an atheist with respect to the flying spaghetti monster. I'm an atheist with respect to the Judeo-Christian God because there is not a shred of evidence in favor of the Judeo-Christian God or indeed any other God.
They really suffer their atheism, I would say. In other words, they suffer the fact that they don't believe because they know that the world makes a whole lot more sense if God does exist.
Atheists are hypocrites. What they're trying to do is impose their godless lifestyle upon Americans, and especially upon Christians. This great country was built on the idea of God, family, and Constitution.
But does the Constitution, Rachel, not only give you freedom of religion, but freedom from religion?
The Constitution gives you freedom from religion.
And freedom of religion doesn't mean freedom from religion.
Let's go to an attorney. Under the lemon test, look, freedom of religion also means freedom from religion, Bill.
Freedom from religion.
So do you think atheists should keep their religious belief secret?
I think they need to shut up and let people do what they do.
I disagree with that.
And stay in their lane. No, I think they need to shut up.
I don't think they need to shut up. The reason why I don't think they need to shut up is because there's a whole bunch of people in this world that we can look at and say they need to shut up, and they certainly don't. You've got everybody fighting for their own individual cause. This is their cause. We might not like it. I don't agree with it at all, but they do have a right.
I think they need to shut up about crying wolf all the time and saying that they're being imposed upon.
I get calls from all over the United States from people who have been harassed, ostracized, sometimes lost their jobs because of discrimination against non-theistic Americans.
I have never experienced such anger and hatred.
Most atheists are in the closet, unfortunately. We haven't seen that. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
This couple, we're calling them John and Jane Smith, are so afraid they asked us not to identify them.
And one thing led to another, and I had maybe like 30 kids kind of surrounding me, just asking me questions.
Were they threatening in any way, or were they just asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. For some reason, people have been brought up to believe that atheists have two horns and a tail.
We're regularly told that we're going to hell, that we're sending our children to hell.
A recent study by the University of Minnesota found that atheists are the least trusted minority group in the United States and are less accepted than other marginalized groups.
Which is pretty astonishing considering, as I say, the innocuousness of what they actually are. They're just people who hold a different belief system.
Do atheists bring this on themselves by going to the Supreme Court with campaigns like trying to take the words "under God" out of the pledge, trying to take the words "in God we trust" off of the currency? You're 1 to 3% of the population. Why are you so noisy?
I think people are getting a bit fed up with other people thrusting their imaginary friends down their throat. I think especially in America, there has been a tendency for God to rule the roost in a way that I think people are rightly getting fed up with.
I know that you point at religion as the source of so much war and pain and persecution throughout history, but on the flip side of that, I'm sure you hear the argument, but think of all the good it does every day around the world, the charity, the selflessness.
My challenge really is to say, can you name me a moral action that's been performed or a moral statement made by a believer that couldn't have been made by an unbeliever? I haven't yet, I've been issuing this challenge, by the way, for quite some time. I haven't had an answer to it yet, whereas I'm very sorry to say that if I ask any audience anywhere, can you think of a wicked action performed or a wicked thing said in the name of faith, no one has any difficulty in coming up with an example.
And one reason I think yourself and so many others are beginning to speak out against organized religion is because it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. There's a talking snake in the Garden of Eden, and people fly up to heaven bodily. It's just ridiculous.
And there's a common perception among Christians, or at least a common case that Christians sometimes make, that atheists, because they do not believe in God, are morally compromised. Are you morally compromised?
No, that's just bigotry. And in order to make religious religious people feel better, they have to say lies.
Where do you get your morals from? Christians get their morals from God, from the Bible, from God. Where do you get yours from?
It's not about where we get our ethics from.
Where do you get them from? It's a question.
Right? No.
That is a question.
Where
do you get them
from?
from?
The idea that we don't have ethics is not borne out. No one sees that. We're not the ones that are, abusing children. Professionally religious people.
Are you saying Christians are abusing children?
I've got to call a timeout here, folks.
And there is no God. None, not one, no God, never was. In fact, I'm gonna put it this way. If there is a God, may he strike this audience dead.